So might have a little time today to work on the wheels for the green 63 there. These are some 15-inch rallies I picked up off of Marketplace, like $125. Decent deal. Two are primered. This one's rusty. We're gonna basically just wire wheel them, get some primer and paint on them. Had to fit one on the car just to make sure we got clearance and everything. So that's the other rusty one. Doesn't look like it's gonna hit the tie rod or anything, but it is super close. I know there's not much light in there, but factory style wheel and all that. I mean, that is a 15, but the back spacing on these cars seem weird. It's like all the wheels tuck underneath it really well, so the back of the rim just gets really close to that tie rod, but it does clear. Alright, it's time to get the 15-inch rally wheels where we can paint them. Like I said, two primered. I'll probably end up scuffing those with like a Scotch-Brite, and they'll be ready for a coat of primer. With these I'm gonna wire wheel. It's just some loose rust. This should knock it off pretty good. So this cup wire wheel looks aggressive, but the actual wires are pretty thin. So I don't think it's gonna gouge it super hard, but it should knock most of the rust off. So that's about 5 minutes with the cupped wire wheel. I got most of it. Probably gonna have to get a D-wall on a drill to get all these little finer spots to get the rest of the rust. I don't want to make you watch me do that. I'm gonna clean out here and then get the rust off of this one. We can move on to primering. Alright, this should show a quick before and after of just wire wheeling, and I haven't hand sanded it yet, but you can go as far as you want to. It's mostly bare metal. The wire wheel did a pretty good job taking that out. It's just deep down in crevices and in the little narrow spots. I used a little DeWalt drill. That one. That brush on it. And this one's pretty good for getting down in there and hit between where the lug nut holes and stuff go. Alright, next phase, checking in on the 15-inch rallies. I ended up wire wheeling all four. These two were the ones that had primer already. After I took a closer look, I realized the primer that was on there wasn't stuck, like it wasn't maybe prepped as good as we did these two at the wire wheel. And it was so quick just to run the big one on the angle grinder there around the lip, you know, turn it each way and make a round. They cleaned up just the same as the other two. I think they came out pretty good. Gonna help with the paint. The only other prep I'm gonna do, it seems like from the factory where they're stamped for the valve stems, it's a little rough, like the metal's all kind of folded over. I'm gonna hit that with a quick either flap wheel or something small to kind of just smooth this out. The old valve stems are sealed, but I don't think it'll take too long to get that perfectly smooth where it doesn't have this rough edge. It's almost like they just got drilled or punched out and not really finished off. So we'll clean that spot up. The back with the wire wheel, I do kind of hit where it seats on the hub on the car, just where there's no buildup or dirt, where it's actually sitting. And to help the tire shop, I'll make a round on each one just to knock all that dirt off where in here, where I can stick their wheel weights on there good. Didn't get all the rust out the back, that's not that big a deal, you won't see that. So that's prepped pretty decent. I'm gonna take some air, blow them all off, wipe them down with something, and then I think it's better that I took the primer off of those two. That way all four are gonna have the same base coat of primer. They're all matched. That way we don't have two looking different from the other ones. Wheel weights, just use a screwdriver, pop them off. Lead, you can keep the lead ones, you know, why not? I got a little bin to store them in. I hit the lip where the tire is gonna seal, just where we ain't got no leaks there for sure. Each one has the same rot on the lip where they must have been sitting in the mud, you know, about a third of the wheel there. But where the tire seats isn't fitted or anything, so that does look bad, but we at least slowed it down, wire wheeling it. We're gonna paint it. You won't hardly notice it with the big fat tires I got the seat around it. Used tires I have for them. This is 215/70s. They're all four, same size. This one has a hole in the sidewall somewhere though, so I do have one spare here to replace it. So it'll be one new one and 3 used. We'll put the little white stripe out. That looks good, the old school wheels. We could try one real quick on the car. I showed one on the front, which is dangling, so it doesn't look that great. But back here is where the actual weight's on the rear end. So this will show the wheel a little more actually tucked up in the car. Give you an idea of what we're gonna have there. That was a big old tire stuffed in around with the little white stripe. Painted, I think will look good. Again, the 2 paint options. I got a can of each. I probably got enough silver, but I'll have to buy more white. Either this, is that primer? Yeah, we'll primer with that. Then I want to say, there's more primer. Yeah, that's clear, that's the silver. Caliper paint. Yeah, this header paint and this VHT stuff, that dries pretty good. The silver is nice. If they scratch the tires, mounting them. Quick touch up with this, you can't tell. It's gonna be that or this appliance white. I actually painted a light fixture in the house with this. It dries to a nice hard kind of shell finish where it doesn't scratch real easy. I think that would be good for the wheels. And it should match pretty good with the white top. So, I don't know, I'm 50-50. Appliance white or header-proof silver, we'll see. And as far as in this video, me using all those wire wheels, that's all cheap Harbor Freight stuff. Some of them came out of this assorted pack like this that has the more aggressive ones in a brush for you. The cup style, and then all these was in the same kind of kit. Those are ones you can chuck in the drill real easy. Cheap kit of those, cheap kit of that, and you got enough to clean up a bunch of junk. So, I'm gonna blow them off, hit a little primer on them, and then once that's done, we'll have to decide white or silver, but I don't think we can miss. Either's gonna look good. One more quick point I wanted to make on these wheels. I mentioned the cheap Harbor Freight wire wheels. You paid for them. Use all of them. Don't leave none. You know, use every bit. That still work good on an angle like this to get around the lip. It still cleaned all that dirt and rust off there pretty well. Use the whole thing, and then afterwards you got a nice minefield of little brush glitter everywhere to shot back up. But anyways, use the whole tool. You done paid for it. So I mentioned last about using up all your, expendable tools all the way, the wire wheel, using every bit. I do believe in that, but you paid for it, get every cent. The only thing about using these all the way is you end up with this, which you're not going to leave and walk around that. So time to shop vac. I had made a mess. I already picked up a lot of stuff, but get those sucked up. Then we're going to blow all the dirt off of these, prep them, and then those will be ready to be primered. Clean it up. I got the shop vac with the wide reach setup, so that should make quick work of picking that stuff up. Wow, I even got some glued to the bottom of the camera. That can't sound too good on the camera, I'm sure that's very loud. Working in the shop out here, I always got the fan on me because if not you'll die because of how hot it is. So that also works, to help blow the dust out there into nature where it's not in here where we're working. So let me show the rust one more time. I think these are as close as they can be and still seal. You can see right along the edge where the tire seals, it's pitted right up there to it. I think it's still gonna seal. I mean, these aren't great, probably why I paid what I paid for them, but I think they're gonna suit our purpose, which is just to be able to kind of break the car in, make sure it'll go down the road like we expect and this and that. I kind of have some different wheels planned for it, but I think they might require spacers and a little more work. So why do all that? Just to be able to test it. And then these, if I take them off, I could use them on, you know, their 15-inch rallies. They'll go on anything GM and look good. So we'll have a nice set of roller wheels with some decent tires. All right, here's the setup ready for paint. I changed my mind last minute again. I don't think I want to waste the primer on the back, because for the back, the only goal for the back is to not be rusty and dirty looking. So I think to save the primer, I'm gonna just shoot it with the classic low gloss black. That way, if you ever take them off or look through the little opening, it's not rusty back there. We'll save the primer for the front where we want it to look nice, and for back here, we'll just shoot them black. Yeah, it's gonna be good enough, and that's all we're going for. This can's about empty, so I'm gonna polish it off. Like I say, get the backs blacked, and then we'll probably let this dry really good, and then tape off the holes just so when we shoot the primer or the white on the front, it doesn't come through and kind of go through the holes, you know. So nothing special here, just gonna black them out. A lot of wrist action on painting the wheels. You're gonna want the wrist to be nice and loose. Need to catch a cramp and have to go lefty here. Nothing special. I'm gonna shoot these, and when I get done, I'll show you what they look like on the back. Stop. You recording? Alright, I'll show you my painting on the last one. I got my technique down. So I make one pass, come on the outside of the wheel just to get that outer lip painted really well. Then you come in here, get the inside of the lip really good. That's where they're going to put the wheel weights and scratch it anyways, so you want it nice and thick right there. Now check the wrist action. This is it. You get in there, side to side, all the way down the whole, I don't know, what do you call it, like the barrel of the wheel. Rotate. Nice wide pattern. You gotta get the can down in there, you know, to keep it tilted up. I don't know if I'm pointing the camera at what I'm even doing. And then 3 little turns like that, you can pretty much get it. This is just the inside. We're just going for covered. It doesn't need to look the best. Sorry, it looks a lot better than a dirty, rusty old wheel. Now to finish it, to get the can tilted properly, you gotta get it tilted up some. Guess that's pointed at it. Get the little center where it bolts up at, you gotta get a little tilt action going. Keep the old wrist action alive. Look back, see what we missed. I'm focusing more on where the holes are. Because if you look at the wheel, you know, like you're going to see it on the car, that's, you know, the only thing on the back you'll be able to see is through there. So I make sure to get good coverage, you know, where if you look from the front, you'll see that black looks nice back there. So
That was one can really. I still got a decent bit in there. You could do 2 coats if you really cared about them, but I think that's gonna be good enough for these. I'll let that dry really good. Tape the holes. We'll flip them and then shoot the primer. So really, I saved most of a can of primer just putting the black on there. Call that good enough, and I think we're gonna move on to the inside of the car. I didn't show any of the metal repair on the floors, but was a decent bit of patching that happened in here. That was a patch, that was a patch, one over there. That whole front pan I didn't buy any of those. I just cut that out of a big piece of 18 gauge sheet metal. The trunk, I'll show you that another time. I bought the where the spare wheel sits down on that one. So the floors are done. I got some carpet to put. We're going to start on the interior here pretty soon. That's the next phase. I think the car's about ready to get dropped down and go down the road, but we got to have some seats and some carpet and such. But before I get carpet in, a nice carpet, I think I need to do something up here. I don't think it's quite nice enough to pay someone to put a headliner in it. I don't even want to try. So I think my plan is to try to get this old, I guess that's sound deadening or insulation off the roof. Probably gonna suck, but I'm gonna take the bows off, get the insulation off, and I think I'm gonna go like we're doing with our wheels and get it primered, and I think we're gonna shoot it white. I think that's gonna look pretty nice. The car has a white top, a lot cheaper than the headliner for now, and sitting in here with nice new carpet and seats, you don't want this above you. So might do the pillars too. I know that's probably some panels that go over that, but for now we'll probably just do they're up all nice white. So I think step one is going to be get these bows out of here. I'm going to save those. You don't want to tear those up. Get the little trim pieces, get the, oh, that's rusty, the old light kind of masked off, and then I don't know what I'm going to do for scraping this stuff off of here. I think I'm going to just get like a big metal scraper to start going to town, and we'll get it prepped, I'm sure. Alright, before we start making a big mess scraping all that stuff off the ceiling, I took these 2 plastic pieces. There's some trays that run along each side of the car for the wiring along the floor. That side's just got the antenna. This side's got like 5 or 6 wires for the taillights and stuff. It was all filled with dirt. I'm gonna blow it out still, but I just took a little hand clean and wiped them down. We're not going for like a super fancy high-end car. It's just gonna be a cruiser, but it's worthwhile to take the 5 minutes to, you know, wipe that down where it's not covered in old dirt and glue and all the nasty stuff. That's it all fresh and clean, and then this is the one I haven't done yet. You can see it's got, I don't know, old poo-poo all over it. So we'll wipe this one down. We'll go get it in the car. I'll kind of show you quick how they go in here. These wires I had just kind of took them and taped them up here out the way while I painted the floor, so where I'm not just tripping on that getting it out here doing the roof now. It's got a nice little holder back here that kind of keeps it held to the car. The wire is absolutely just petrified, so it still had the shape to actually follow the wheel well here and go into the trunk. So got them just taped every so often. I put a bunch of tape around where the holder has it, a couple little bundles up there, you know. So I'm gonna clean up the other little cover, pop those on there where we're not tripping over wires or antenna, and then we'll get into the nasty roof scraping. So I'm in here learning how the old style headliners worked. I've never actually had an older car with the bows that hold it in. The metal bows actually come out pretty easy. They just stick through a hole. You kind of pull it and then get it down. Gotta bend it a little bit, but then the other side just pulls right out. So that's pretty simple. And then it's got these little panels along with these little evil looking teeth in them. It's just some 5/16 that hold them in. There's one for the back, one for the front. The front kind of goes underneath the little that panel, so there's a screw you got to take out to kind of pull it out of there. And then behind it there's this evil looking little rubber stuff with like staples in it. I'm guessing that's how they hold it tight along the door rails. You can see that's how it kind of pinches the material underneath there, and that holds it up to the roof, I guess. So we'll pull these out, take our little coat hanger off there, get the bows out, and then we'll be ready to start making our mess with scraping the insulation off the roof. I already did that side. That's how it looks bare with all the rubber stuff and the little teeth panels taken out. And all right, let me share with y'all how I learned these little clips here. Like anything else, you just kind of poke and prod and pry on it until something either breaks or comes out. I find it, you can kind of loosen it up, get a screwdriver that fits in there, you know, and kind of pry one side or the other. Nothing too special. I had one or two come out where like maybe you could reuse them if you bent them back, but these seem to be a one-time thing. I don't know why they just didn't put, it already had 3 or 4 screws. I don't know why not just put a couple more. I'm gonna tear this one up. All right, you can kind of see if that was straight, it would push through, kind of like a new style plastic, like the little Christmas tree, you know, plastic push-in things that hold all the interior in. I'm guessing this was, you know, back before they used plastic, that's what they had, little push ones like that. So I got one more. This panel will be out. That'll be everything. And then for the dome light, I got the top popped off there. I kind of just grabbed it and squeezed and pulled down. It came off. And now it looks like it's got 3 little metal twisty doodads. Hopefully I can twist them and they'll twist back and not break. It looks like if we just line these up, this piece will pull down out of there. I'm hoping. Thinking those little tabs being twisted is what's holding it. Yeah. And it's got some wires. We can just let that dangle. Let that officer dangle there, and then that's our last little piece of headliner. So now we should be able to paint and treat everything and have it look all nice. Alright, I've put off scraping the crap off as long as I can. Now I gotta do it. Alright, phase 1 of clean the roof off is complete. This is about all I use. My favorite little scraper here. Trash can to catch it all, and this is what it looks like now. Absolutely disgusting. You can tell it was glued on there in strips. You get to where it was just bare metal and you could run it and all the insulation would just fall off of there. But everywhere else it's got like this black rubberized glue. Scraper wasn't getting that off of there. I didn't think it would. So we got all the big chunks. I think next is going to require a wire wheel to get all that glue off of there. Probably use a brass one because I don't think we're going to get too aggressive. So big brass wire wheel and just make an absolute mess in here. Probably put a respirator on for this part. I should have for when I was scraping, but I had the fan behind me, so I just stayed, you know, upwind for what I was knocking loose, and I caught everything in the trash can I could. So get the wire wheel set up. That's gonna be next. But the only downside is it was put on before the braces were put in, so it's all pinched in between here. On the side there's a gap where you can kind of get behind there and pry it. But in here it's sandwiched, so we're gonna have to take like a razor blade and just cut it flush, I guess. I don't want to leave anything loose in there because as soon as you go down the road with the windows down, I got insulation blowing all over all our new stuff. Up there, it actually has a good gap, so I think I can get the majority of it from up there. But from here to the same spot on the other side, it's pinched, and same back here across the whole back, it's put in between the roof and the brace, so we're gonna have to just cut it flush and pick at it and get all we can from back there. So alright, I didn't have a big brass wire wheel for my angle grinder, so the old DeWalt's kind of get it done. As big as one I had. I'm gonna set you up on time lapse, and we're gonna get in it and try to get this nasty part over with. So the last clip I shot was supposed to be a time lapse of getting all the glue and insulation off the roof of the car here. And I was about 30 seconds into that when I realized I severely underestimated how much of a pain that was going to be. Evidently in the 60s, GM used like road tar or something similar to glue the insulation to the roof. So I really got in it and started suffering there. It turned into one of those jobs where you start questioning, do I like working on cars, or is this some kind of self-punishment that I've chosen for myself? So I kind of just quit filming it and got into all kinds of different means to try to get it off of there. And I think I'm about halfway, so I'll show you an update on what it looks like now, and then I'm gonna have to try 2 or 3 other things just to get it cleaned up to get it primered. So let me show you what I got so far. The first attempt was just the wire wheel. I started with this little brass one on my drill, and that really wasn't touching it. So then I got to the bigger wheel here on the angle grinder, which you can see has seen better days. All those wires are here. But that's what the roof looks like. I just realized how dark it was. That light's not plugged in. But right now, it's a thin layer of the glue left on there. I hit with the wire wheel really good. Realized I had no lacquer thinner to try to soften it. So then I took my little razor blade, just on a little hand scraper, and went at it. And there's spots where you can see bare metal. And the rubber that's left, the glue, whatever you want to call it, is real thin. The front half, I didn't take the wire wheel to it yet, because it really just kind of took the rubber and turned it into more of a paste and kind of just spread it around. So I think my next attempt, I'm going to take some lacquer thinner now that I've bought some, wipe it all down really well and hopefully soften it, and then maybe between the scraper wire wheel and whatever means, that'll hopefully get the rest of it off, and then we can move on to, you know, sanding the structure and everything else. So I think I got it about halfway there. Alright, final update for today's little session. I think the roof's in a pretty good spot. I think almost all the rubber glue, rotar, whatever you want to call it's off of there. You can still see the streaks where it wasn't at. That's where, you know, that's just rust left on there mostly. To get most of it off, this is what did the bulk of it, my little scraper. This is a gasket scraper. I know it's not that common of a deal, but it came in handy in a lot of spots in there. And I had to use this razor blade a few times just in these gaps between the bracing and the roof. Just kind of worked the razor blade down this way, scraping, pulling back and forth. It took a bunch. Had to do up here, both sides that center brace, and then back there across the roof. But I got all of it out I can. I think once it's painted, you won't be able to tell that there's a little bit left in there. And then I took my lacquer thinner. I had a little stainless bowl with a rag and a Scotch-Brite in it. And I would wipe down whatever area I was about to start on, you know, pick one or two streaks. Wipe it with the rag really good to get the rubber kind of softening. Go ahead with that. And I take the Scotch-Brite. If you really dug into it, you can, you know, basically rub it off with that Scotch-Brite pretty good. Absolute arm workout. Again, I understand car rotisseries now. That would be much easier if the car was upside down. But a free arm workout for me. So that's all I have time for today. I think when I come back, I got another really big softer bristle wire wheel. I think enough of the rubber and the glue's gone that's not going to gum up on me again. I'm either going to take that or maybe a DA with some 220, I haven't decided, and just hit all of it, because up here I still really haven't sanded this rust besides what it got hit with the Scotch-Brite. So try to get it all smoothed down, kind of assure myself that that glue is gone, because I'd hate to go start spraying some primer and have some kind of reaction with that, because I really do want it to come out pretty slick. I mean, not like, you know, a 10 out of 10, but we're going for like a 7 or 8 here. We don't put in this much work. I'd be kind of PO'd if I forget some rubber here or there and it makes some blisters or some bubbles in the paint. That would be super lame. But next step, prep the rest of the flat part of the roof, get it all scuffed up good, and I have to take some Scotch-Brites and hit all the bracing all the way around. It's pretty intricate, you know, no flat spots, so Scotch-Brite should do a decent job of that. All the way down the back panels and across the back, and then tape off the glass, blow it all out. I got all kinds of dust and just nastiness all over the dash. Get the whole car just kind of wiped down and cleaned out on the inside. Get all this rubber crap wiped off the panel from when I was wire wheeling. And then I think that'll finally be some primer. Just maybe one day I'll get to on the roof some, but we're getting close. I'm hoping next sesh we either get it primed or have it where it's, you know, to that point. I'll get back with you then another day. Alright, I knocked all the rust off the roof with the wire wheel. I think the roof itself is pretty prepped. Now I got just a piece of 320 and a Scotch-Brite. Show you the technique I'm running around here. Real intricate piece, so I can hit a lot with this because you can fold it in there. Kind of push it in that crack where I'm getting this whole piece, this here. And it's just a pain because you gotta get behind these little teeth here, but I'm just going around the entire perimeter like this, hitting. Then every now and then, I don't know if it's gonna pick up, but the factory primer from the 60s got some runs in it like this. So I'll just grab my sandpaper. The Scotch-Brite's gonna take a minute to get that out. So you just hit the runs real quick with the sandpaper to kind of smooth that out. Well, knock the runs out, and then I get back with my Scotch-Brite and go around. So wiped it all down with lacquer thinner. It's prepped, so I'm about to come in with some 1 and some 2-inch tape. Mostly just got to tape off the windshield, the back glass, and there's like a little piece of trim in the middle I don't want to paint. I'll kind of mask off the doors where the overspray gets out there. But I just got 2 strips of paper that the fans are blowing everywhere, cut. That's going to do, one's going to be for the windshield and one for the back glass. Just 2 strips of paper like that. And it'll all be masked off before long. We'll start spraying some primer. I'm going to primer the roof and then the rallies out here. I wire wheeled and cleaned these up a while back. I just hit these with some prep too, so we're going to primer those at the same time. Wiped it all down with lacquer thinner. It's prepped, so I'm about to come in with some 1 and some 2-inch tape. Mostly just got to tape off the windshield, the back glass, and there's like a little piece of trim in the middle I don't want to paint. I'll kind of mask off the doors where the overspray gets out there. But I just got 2 strips of paper that the fans are blowing everywhere, cut. That's going to do, one's going to be for the windshield and one for the back glass. Just 2 strips of paper like that. And it'll all be masked off before long. We'll start spraying some primer. I'm going to primer the roof and then the rallies out here. I wire wheeled and cleaned these up a while back. I just hit these with some prep too, so we're going to primer those at the same time. Alright, it's a long time coming. The project kind of drug on and on, but finally got the white sprayed earlier, and I'm pretty pleased with the results. I didn't have time to put 2 coats of white on anything because I had promised my wife we was going to go get lunch and pick up the kids from school, so that was my first mistake. Set a deadline, you know, like, oh hey, let me get this done, then we're going to go eat. So I was on the clock, and like every other job I've ever done, it took twice as long as I said it was gonna. You know, 30 minutes turns into 2 hours pretty quick. So I had to kind of rush at the end there, but it still worked out pretty good. It's no big deal. So these are the wheels, as clean as they will ever be, because from this point on they're only going to get dirtier. But for one, I didn't do 2 coats like I wanted, but I put one very heavy coat. They're covered. You know, normally with white you want to do at least, you know, a few thinner coats, but that's the time of what I had to do, so that's how I did it, and I think it covered pretty good. I guess that having that gray primer kind of helped cover pretty well. Now on the inside, roof came up pretty good. Let me get a light where we can see. Pretty fresh. If anywhere needed a second coat, I guess it was in here. I'm seeing it right now. I missed a little spot there, but I still got a can left. This took 3 cans, so I can probably take that 4th one and just mist in any little spots where I missed. Came out pretty good, but the one mistake I made, I didn't mask off that back panel there below the back glass, and I didn't cover the dash, which is a shame. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it is all original and green and matching. And when I got done, it had white sprinkles all over it. So kind of panicked. I took some glass cleaner and kind of wiped the spot. It looked like it was going to come off. And then that was right before we left to go to lunch. Well, by the time, you know, a few hours later, get lunch, get the kids, and get home, and it dried a little better. So I ended up having to take some lacquer thinner to try to get it the rest of the way off. And I did get it. It's not sprinkled anymore. But the one thing it did take off some of this green paint here. You see the red primer coming through below, which I guess doesn't look terrible, but I would have rather that have just been green like it was before. Kind of upset that it took the paint off like that. But I guess that just adds a little more character to a car that already has a buttload of it. So it is what it is. I think I got it all off. At some point I think I'm going to take some polish and try to shine this dash up, and I don't guess the red coming through will look too terrible. I do think I got all the overspray off. So rookie mistake, too lazy. I mean, I put up paper. I don't know why I didn't just cover the dash while I was at it. Kind of a lazy move on my part, but I'll let it dry a little more. I might hit some touch-up spots, peel the paint or peel the tape off, and that's finally done. Nice to have that done, because like I said, that project absolutely drug on. It really wasn't very fun. So I think at this point, that's it for the painting on the roof. Let it finish drying. I think the next project is going to be to rewrap the seat here. So I think we're going to start that tomorrow. I'll pick up with that in the morning. We'll get started covering that up. All right, so the day has finally come to put color on the wheels and on the inside of the roof. Been a week or two since I sprayed the primer. Finally got a day to come out here, so primer's good and dry. I just hit it with a red Scotch-Brite. I have one of these big sheets here. Just to rough the primer up a little bit. I hit everything with that. Wiped it down with a rag with some lacquer thinner on it. Tape's still all up there, so about to spray her white. If I didn't say it before, using this appliance white. I've used it on a couple things that dries a little harder. I don't think that's going to matter so much for the roof, because no one should be up there scratching on it or anything anyways. But as far as the wheels, getting tires mounted and caps and trim rings going on and off, I'm hoping that that being a little thicker, harder shell on it might protect the wheels a little bit. In worst case, if they get scratched, we can always touch them up with it, you know. So got my ventilation set up, gonna get my mask on and getting there. I've got 4 cans. It only took 2.5 cans of primer, but I'm hoping to do a second coat. I just did 1 thick coat of primer, so hopefully 2 coats of this white and it'll be nice and thick on there. So I'm gonna spray it and I'll get back with you and show you the finished product. So I took took a small break just for the fumes to kind of clear out of here. I got the front half primer. I think it came out pretty good. About to do the back half. Just wanted to show you the setup. I got the air mover out there pulling the fumes out for me. That's helping some. I should have put it up on a box or somewhere. I was right in the door, but that's helping. And as far as spraying, since I'm in the car, I do have a respirator. If I'm just spraying some out in the shop and, you know, I'm in the open, I admit I don't typically wear one because you can stay kind of downwind or upwind of the fumes. But being locked in the car with having this much to spray is a lot, so I figure I better get the old mask on it. It's worthwhile. It's nice to be able to just spray and not worry about it. So, about to get into the back half here. I'll show you some of it. This is a can going. I got a second one ready. It was just a bunch of that over and over again. Alright, final update before finally getting to spray something. Taped off, there you go, one big piece across the glass. The back one was a little short, but used a decent bit of a 2-inch roll of tape. I just put like a edge on here where the green wouldn't catch any. And then I double checked to make sure I had the same transition. I'm kind of ending it back there on the inside the same way the white on the outside ends. See how it stops about here? I didn't make it come to a point, but just trying to make it where it's going to stop the same on each side. Double check those, and same on the front. It's got the little pillar pieces, so it's going to be the green of the pillar up to the white of the roof. I just kind of taped it coming off the windshield at the same angle. So finally gotta get the primer shook up, get a coat on here. I picked a good time to lose my little handheld light I used to see. So I don't know, I might look around in the shop for 20-30 minutes and then spray primer, but once I get my light, spray the roof, spray the wheels, see what everything looks like gray.